The Golden State Warriors kicked off their playoff journey with an impressive road win, taking down the Minnesota Timberwolves with a final score of 98-88. That opening victory set the tone for the series, giving Golden State a 1-0 lead, but what was supposed to be a celebratory night quickly turned into one filled with anxiety. Midway through the second quarter, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Stephen Curry, the heart and soul of this Warriors squad, was seen grimacing as he clutched the back of his left thigh. Moments later, he made his way to the locker room, and the silence that followed in the Warriors' bench area said everything. The worry wasn't just about the game anymore. It was about what the rest of this postseason might look like without their leader. Curry's departure wasn't just unexpected. It was gut-wrenching. At first glance, it seemed like a hamstring issue, and later, that suspicion was confirmed. He had been having a solid start of the game, moving well off the ball, coming off screens with purpose, and finding space against a tough Minnesota defense that had locked him down in previous matchups. In just 13 minutes on the court, Steph managed to rack up 13 points, hitting 3 of his 6 attempts from beyond the arc. He looked confident his rhythm was coming back and his shots were falling. It felt like we were about to witness another one of those vintage Curry nights. But then, in the blink of an eye, everything changed. He didn't take another dribble in that game. No more threes, no more floaters, no more no-look passes. Instead, the focus turned entirely to the status of his injury. Cameras caught him heading down the tunnel, walking gingerly, and the expression on his face told 1,000 stories. For Warriors fans, it was a punch to the gut. For the team, it meant they'd have to finish the job without their most trusted player. And for the league as a whole, it was a reminder of just how fragile these playoff runs can be. One moment, everything's going according to plan. The next, the entire trajectory of series is thrown into question. Initial updates from the team were cautious. They labeled Curry's injury as a hamstring strain and ruled him out for the remainder of the game. The coaching staff looked visibly shaken, and even his teammates couldn't hide their concern. One player admitted after the game that the locker room went quiet after Steph left. Another said it was hard to stay locked in emotionally after seeing him exit like that. And honestly, who could blame them? This isn't just any player. This is Stephen Curry we're talking about. A generational talent, the face of the franchise, the guy who, even at this stage of his career, remains the engine that makes Golden State go. An MRI was scheduled for the next morning, and while everyone hoped for the best, there was an underlying fear about what that scan might reveal. Hamstring injuries are tricky. They come with a wide range of severity levels, and until the medical team sees the results, it's hard to know what you're dealing with. A grade 1 strain might sideline a player for just a game or two, but anything worse, like a partial or full tear, could mean multiple games or even the rest of the series without their superstar. A sports physician on social media broke down the different scenarios, noting that the location of the strain, how much swelling is present, and how many muscles are involved all play a role in recovery time. One study even showed that NBA players who suffer hamstring injuries miss an average of 6 games. That number hit fans like a thunderclap. 6 games? That's practically a whole series. The idea of Curry being listed as day-to-day felt both comforting and confusing. On the surface, it sounds optimistic. Maybe he's close to returning. But those words don't really tell the full story. Coaches and teams often use that designation when they simply don't have enough information yet. It's a way to keep options open, to not commit too early to bad news. And that's exactly what happened here. When asked if Curry might play in the next game, the coach didn't sound confident. In fact, reports later revealed that the staff wasn't planning on having him available. That revelation, for many, was the clearest sign yet that this injury was more than just a minor tweak. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that Steph was finally starting to find his groove again. After battling through tight defensive matchups and dealing with double teams in the last few weeks of the regular season, this playoff game was the first time in a while that he was getting clean looks. He was navigating off-ball action like a master, slipping through screens, creating space, and finding his range. Watching him hit those threes early on felt like a statement. He was ready. He was locked in. And then, just as quickly, that energy was ripped away. You could almost feel the emotional deflation across the fan base. There was a sense of injustice. How could this happen now, of all times? And look, we know Curry is one of the toughest guys in the league. His resilience is well documented. He's fought through ankle issues, dealt with surgeries, taken hard fouls, and still come back better than ever. But this one feels different. A hamstring injury requires rest. It's not something you can just tape up and play through without risking further damage. And for a player like Curry, whose game relies so heavily on movement, those lightning-quick cuts, the off-ball relocations, the sudden burst to the three-point line, it's hard to imagine him being effective unless he's close to 100%. The entire organization now finds itself at crossroads. They got the win, yes. The role players stepped up in a huge way. One guy, in particular, came out firing, hitting 5 of his first 6 shots, including 4 from deep. Another veteran chipped in with 24 points, controlling the tempo and hitting clutch shots in the final minutes. The defense, too, was stout. The team out-rebounded Minnesota, contested nearly every shot at the rim, and held one of the Timberwolves' top scorers to a frustrating night from the field. But still, everyone knows the road ahead just got a lot bumpier. Minnesota, to their credit, didn't back down. They clawed their way back in the second half, narrowing the gap to single digits more than once. The crowd was on edge, the tension was thick, and it looked like the momentum might shift. But Golden State, even without Curry, found a way to hold on. They played smart, used the clock well, and even took intentional shot clock violations instead of forcing bad attempts. That kind of poise was impressive. But can they replicate it in the next game, and the one after that? If Steph is still out? That's the question that's going to define the rest of this series. Because as good as the supporting cast was in Game 1, the playoffs are a different beast. Adjustments come fast. Defenses tighten. Game plans evolve. And without their primary floor spacer and offensive engine, the Warriors will need more than just effort. They'll need execution. They'll need chemistry. And they'll need a little bit of luck. As fans wait for news from the MRI, social media is already buzzing with theories. Some say it didn't look too serious. Others point out that Steph's history with soft tissue injuries has always required caution. And then there are those who refuse to believe he'll miss more than one game. What makes this situation even more frustrating is the timing. Golden State had just started to find their rhythm again. They had been battling through inconsistency, adjusting lineups, dealing with a few late-season slumps. But things are finally clicking. The ball movement was sharp, the defensive communication was on point, and guys were stepping into their roles with confidence. Curry's presence on the court isn't just about scoring. He bends defenses in ways no one else can. The mere threat of him pulling up from 30 feet opens driving lanes, creates space for cutters, and forces opposing coaches to constantly adapt. Without him, everything changes. The game slows down. The spacing collapses. And suddenly, every possession feels like a grind. Yet, if there's one silver lining to draw from Game 1, it's the way the team responded after Steph went down. You could feel the urgency. It was like a switch flipped. Players who normally take a back seat stepped forward. One guard, in particular, was fearless, attacking the rim, absorbing contact, and hitting tough floaters in traffic. Another wing player, known more for his hustle than his scoring, knocked down a critical 3 late in the third quarter that pushed the lead back to double digits. The bench was locked in, the rotations were tighter, and the energy was contagious. Even defensively, they refused to let up. They rotated quickly, closed out hard on shooters, and cleaned up the glass with purpose. The Timberwolves, meanwhile, were clearly affected by Golden State's intensity. Their offense, especially in the first half, looked completely out of rhythm. They struggled to find good looks from beyond the arc and shot well below their usual percentage. A few of their key guys picked up early fouls, which threw off their timing and forced some unusual rotations. Credit to Golden State's defense for making that happen. They played physical but smart. No flagrant fouls, no technicals, just gritty, playoff-level defense that made every bucket feel earned. But even with all that going right, the looming absence of Curry casts a huge shadow over everything. In the final minutes of the game, As the Warriors were closing things out, the celebration on the sideline was noticeably muted. Nobody was jumping out of their seats. Nobody was dancing, because deep down, they knew that the road ahead just got a lot steeper. Winning one game without Curry is one thing. Winning a series? That's an entirely different challenge. And it's not just about offense, either. Steph may not be the league's best defender, but he understands team concepts, rotates well, and plays with incredible anticipation. His ability to read plays before they develop helps plug holes on the perimeter. Without him, matchups shift. Minutes increase for others, and roles get shuffled. That puts more pressure on the rest of the backcourt, especially against a Minnesota team that likes to run and punish mismatches. The next 24 hours will be critical. The MRI results will either spark hope or confirm fears. If it's a minor strain, there's a chance he could return by Game 3. But if the news isn't good, the Warriors may have to brace for a much longer stretch without their leader. Until then, all eyes are on the medical updates, and all hearts are hoping for the best. Because this team, this moment, and this series, all of it changes without Stephen Curry. And while the rest of the squad showed they're ready to fight, the truth is simple. You never want to go into battle without your general. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Greek superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo has firmly shut down speculation surrounding a potential move to the Golden State Warriors, stating clearly that he has no plans to join the Bay Area franchise at this time. The Milwaukee Bucks forward addressed the rumors in a recent interview, bringing a swift end to growing whispers that had ignited the NBA fanbase and media outlets alike. The buzz began circulating after reports hinted at the Warriors' potential interest in adding another superstar to their roster, with Giannis' name emerging as a tantalizing possibility. However, the two-time MVP has made it clear that such a move isn't in his immediate plans. "I have no plans to go to the Warriors now," Giannis stated simply but decisively, a comment that left little room for interpretation. Antetokounmpo, who has been the face of the Bucks franchise for nearly a decade, remains focused on his mission in Milwaukee. Known for his loyalty and competitive spirit, Giannis has repeatedly emphasized his commitment to building a legacy where he started. He led the Bucks to their first NBA championship in 50 years in 2021, and despite the team's recent playoff struggles, his desire to bring another title to Milwaukee appears undiminished. His remarks come at a time when super team narratives continue to dominate NBA discourse, with star players frequently changing teams in search of rings. But Giannis' statement reflects a different mindset, one rooted in dedication, perseverance, and perhaps a sense of unfinished business with the Bucks. While anything can happen in the unpredictable landscape of the NBA, for now, Warriors fans hoping to see the Greek freak don the blue and gold will have to put their dreams on hold. As for Giannis, his focus remains squarely on bringing more glory to Milwaukee. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.